3, 2, 1. We're live. I don't know if there's anybody here, but sort of cast. A little stick.
Ooh, my butt just felt perfect on that chair.
Perfect butt in a chair.
Button chairs, button chairs, button chairs.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that.
What's up? What's up, cold world? What you doing? What you doing today?
It's
You just out there? You just out in the streets? Cool.
streets, living it hard. Well, we may not be living hard, but
You know, we get more viewers if we did this on Chatterbait.
With just our upper chest.
No. I've watched. There's this one couple that's on Chatterbait, and all they do is just play the banjo. That's all they do.
Just play the banjo. They
Yeah,
don't
they're
ever
fully,
take their
they're
dicks
fully
out.
clothed. Well, it's a woman and a dude, so they don't both have dicks. But
Well, I mean, the clitoris is just a little tiny dick.
no, it's a clitoris.
Like, penis isn't a large clitoris.
Oh yeah. Your coochie fell out, son. That's what I'm saying. That's like, bitch.
Your coochie fell out, son. Oh, yeah. Oops.
All are born women. We all start off women. I almost got in a fight at Westside one time because I was explaining that to these dudes. I was like, we all start off in the womb as women. He goes, I ain't no bitch. I was like, I'm not calling you a bitch. I'm just saying the chromosomes don't kick in right away. So you start off as a female. Every human does. And he just looked at me. He was just like, fuck you, that ain't right.
No.
I was like, Google it, man. That's real science. Like, it's not me making it up. I'm not trying to bust your balls. Like, I'm explaining a fact. And he's straight like, I gotta go before I fuck you up. It's just like, oh, alrighty, bud. Yeah, I'm good.
Well, then, yeah.
Now you acting like a bitch.
Yeah, you should probably leave. You definitely should.
That's why some men act like bitches. That's why some people are racists.
Coochie fell out, son.
Fucking. Of all the people to be racist against Asians, what do they do to anybody? Besides, cultivate their own neighborhood and bring food into the country.
Be super good at math.
Work hard.
Well, there was one time they flew a bunch of planes and bombed some shit. And nobody knew they were gonna do it. Sneak attack.
Technically, Japanese people aren't Asian.
Well,
they live in Japan, not Asia.
But there's
Be technical.
There's Occidental and
No, man, they're not Asians. They're not. Japan's not part of Asia. It's its own. It's not part of Asia.
Okay, well, we're gonna ask Google.
Is Japan Asia?
Is Japan in Asia? List of Asian countries by population.
Japan
is number 7.
All right.
But there are at least 2 huge
That's Wikipedia.
groups. Oh, I know.
I could put I could be like Alaska. Alaska is Asia now.
Okay, so there's Oriental and Occidental. So there are 2 different branches that are all considered. Yeah! Toll! It's real. I'm telling you right now.
I met a Russian kid with Down syndrome that was teaching me some Russian yesterday. Yeesh. That's all I learned. That's all I've been saying with these.
Translation. Is that they get sucked by a robot in the background?
They have those now. They have big sucking robots.
Yeah. It sounds
Would
like
you fuck a
they
robot?
take
Like, say Amy's not in the picture. Would you fuck a robot?
I can't listen to this anymore. This is fucked up.
Yeah, that's some weird. It's like
That's
it's like Danny Elfman decided to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You know what? Let's
Should we make a
this.
podcast of us watching other podcasts?
I don't know if we can do that, especially if we get a following. They'll tell us, hey, you can't do that. And then we'll have to figure figure
What
out.
are they gonna do to us?
Well, I mean, once we've done it, there's nothing they can do. But
I mean, they can't sue us for it, can they? They can just take us down. I
Yeah.
say,
Fuck
they'll
the
just take it
system.
down.
See this? This is for the system. That's for the system.
It's one of those weird shockers that only uses one finger.
Yeah, it's
a
like
thumb around, a thumb on the butthole.
it's for the no.
It's not a finger
for those,
in the butthole.
It's for those women that don't have anuses. You know, there was a dude that lived in Japan that didn't have an anus for 55 years.
I mean, he did. He
No,
had a
he didn't.
colostomy back
Yeah,
then.
colostomy. He didn't actually
He
have
had an anus then.
No, he didn't.
His anus had just been transferred to
No,
the
he
side of
didn't
his
have.
body.
He didn't have an anus. A butthole is the anus. Am I right?
Well, it's one of them. You actually have 5. And they're called sphincters.
No, those are muscles inside.
That's
the
what your anus
inside
is.
the colon.
Your anus is your
No.
5th
The
sphincter.
anus is the butthole.
Anus is the 5th sphincter.
You're talking.
It's
colon.
all a
You're
sphincter.
talking colon shit.
Your mouth is a sphincter. You know that your mouth is the same as your butthole.
Makes sense.
Well, that's why you can sew them together.
Yeah. That's how human centipedes happen. Would you do the human centipede if
No.
What if
Nope.
what if it was
Nope.
for $20 million and you
Nope.
were in
No, you're a human centipede. You don't do anything anymore except for eat and shit into
No, you only gotta do it
or
for a
they
week.
shit into
you
your
only
mouth.
gotta do it for a week.
No.
But you're the first one, so you're not actually eating shit. You're just shitting
Nope.
into people's mouths.
Yep.
So you're the head of the centipede. I'd be the head of the centipede for $20 million for a week. $20 million for a week. You can pay for all the therapy in the world to get rid of it.
For $20 million?
Mhm.
I bet you could blow $20 million in a week.
Oh, definitely could, but I mean, you could also turn $20 million.
So you think...
You could
so
also
you
turn
think-
$20 million into $200 million.
Yes, but you think that you are... If you're impulsive enough to go be in a human centipede for $20,000...
$20 million.
$20 million. You're right, that is a lot more. $20 million. I knew it in my head, but I said the other one just to trivialize it, maybe. You would be just spending your money on all kinds of things. Somebody would be like, hey, if you give me $2 million, then next week I'll completely fix your butthole.
Yeah,
and then they won't do anything. They just won't show you.
No,
They'll put some creams
What, are you
on.
talking to
and be
Greg in
like,
a
"Oh."
van about doing surgeries? No, you go to a doctor and you pay to get your butthole fixed. Because you got that money. You got that butthole money.
And now you have no more money because you fixed all the damage that you did to earn some money?
Homie, you're telling me that $20 million to fix a butthole? Come on.
Well, it depends on the damage. Depends
There's
on
no
what they did to
damage.
your...
It's just
How
sewn.
do
It's
you-
just lip sewn onto your butthole. There's not really much. It's just stitches. It's not that bad. I've had stitches before.
What if they chewed their way up inside of you a little bit?
Why would anybody want to do that? If you're in a human centipede, especially if you're in the middle, all you're doing
And
is
the
trying
last
to
thing,
escape.
the last thing you want to do is eat the person's butthole in front of you, so that you they bleed into your mouth.
Yeah, you
a
get
whole bunch
butt
of
blood.
toxic shit,
You don't want butt blood.
and then you die because
you
I mean you're already eating
you drink
poop,
poop blood.
but now you poop blood, yeah, tainted blood.
The one thing I'd be worried about more is I'm vomiting poop up into my mouth.
Oh yeah, don't you think that would happen the first 9 times?
What if they puke
There would
and
just
then
be
it just
this
went
thing
out
where it'd
the,
be like-
it went out the seams like?
Oh, that would be the best. Would be to just kind of loosely sew it so that you can't if you pull away, you're gonna tear your whole fucking face, or enough that you can't. But there's just little tiny.
This episode
seams.
brought to you by White Claw.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Sponsor
It's not.
us.
No, it's not.
Sponsor
It's
us.
not brought. It's
Sponsor
not
us.
brought to anybody. By
I'm
that.
also a rapper. Sponsor me.
It is brought to us by shit.
Yes, it is brought, this is brought to you by poop.
Do you know that in what is it? The Dominican Republic, so they produce more Major League Baseball players than any other country besides America, and they play a game there that you basically use a stick this size and you pitch with a bottle cap. That's how that's how most of those kids grow up.
Yeah.
It's
Learning to
crazy.
hit shit out of the air.
Well, no,
Instead
it's like
of-
they play it like baseball, but instead of a bat,
Yeah.
they use a stick about like this, and then they use a bottle cap
Yeah.
instead of a ball. And they actually,
Well, it's like
that's how they. That's how
it's Jedi training, man.
it's crazy.
When Luke was doing the fucking bzz, bzz, and having to block himself without the helmet on.
I bet I could kill somebody with this.
So there's some neat things about a stick like this.
No,
Use a
that's
stick.
my
Hold on,
stick. Now.
just let me
My
see for a
stick's
second.
taking hold of me.
There you go. It's part of my cat story.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but if you hold a stick like this, you have 2 weapons. You have this end,
Mhm.
right? So you can hit this way.
You can do a whack. You do
Like
a,
what you can
a
do,
punch
what you
punch.
can do, strike where you're going forward, or you can do a whip where you're not actually losing your hold on the thing. So if somebody's moving in on you, you can and still have your weapon here. They can't take it. But then you also
Yeah.
So you can jack people this
Just
way.
reach into the choir,
You
right.
can wrap wrists.
Stir a big stew.
No. You can take some.
You
If
can
somebody
stir a
else has a
stew, bro.
stick,
You can-
if somebody else has a stick, you put the stick over their wrist and draw a circle, and it takes their stick out of their hand because it goes over here, and then it makes their hand open up underneath while pulling the stick out of their hand. So you can disarm somebody, take their stick into your hand, and then beat them with their stick. It's the basis of a screamer. I only know a little bit.
Right?
No.
I've been in a lot of
Yeah,
them.
you've been in a ton of street fights,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
street fight isn't necessarily a.
Yeah, but I've taken lots of things out of people's hands.
Oh yeah. Well, and the best way to do that is to get right up in there next to them and swing.
Yeah.
And then as soon
Well,
as,
usually
as
what
soon
I
as
do
you
is I let
stop
them-
their motion.
I let them swing, and then I follow there after. So if someone swings, I get them when they're on the down before they can recock.
That's not bad.
Like
That's
when they
really
have a
good.
knife, they come at you like that, so I get them like that and I twist them.
Yep.
I don't really have a technique. I just know that I can overpower any one person's arm.
Right.
No matter how big you are, I can control your
and
arm.
that
at
was
least.
yesterday when we were doing our little wrestling thing. At one point, it was probably more that you had some inebriation involved. But I kind of like wrapped up your wrists and had the sleeves of your hoodie together, and you were like, "Oh, where'd you tie my hands up?" And I was like, "Well, I need to because you're big." And
Oh,
you're like,
I remember that.
"Ah."
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you did have me with one hand too. That was funny.
Well, just for a second. It's not like I could hold you there. But if you were moving around just for a split second, but that's all you need.
Yeah, all you
That
need is
split second so that you can decide to either run or fight. I think most of the time flight is probably better because if somebody really wants to come after you, they're going to come after you. And the best time to hit them is when they think they've got you.
Fair
I do
enough.
this in tournaments all the time. Somebody comes after you and you just run away from a little bit and then jump in the air and back kick. Or like stop as a wrestler and take their legs out from under them. Turn around real quick and reverse the situation. Make it look like you're running away for just enough time for the dog to go, "Oh, I'm gonna get it," and then you turn around and boot it in the head.
I could never do that.
Well, I don't mean a dog literally. I mean a dog.
I
metaphor-
understand what you're saying. I get the metaphor.
Not a puppy. Why the hell would you kill a dog?
What is this one?
Oh, that's your prize for being on the show.
Where does
I
Hello
just
Fresh?
decided that. I have no fucking idea, but I'm not gonna use it. When it expires soon, I want to give it to you.
All right, I'll eat some shit.
Mhm.
$50.
Figure out if it's
Is there a phone number? Is there a website?
if it's stupid. Yeah, it's a website. You order it and it comes to your house.
Oh shit,
Yeah, people have been just.
Oh wait, it's
randomly-
$25 off my first 2 deliveries, which means I still have to spend money. I should go put money on the credit card though. I want to go to Vegas again. I haven't been to Vegas in a while. Miss it.
There's nothing on this track. That's pretty funny. Let's pull up some different.
Okay, so let's say that you have the opportunity to eat the best meal in the best restaurant ever. You and your lady. It's great ambiance. It's like a 7-course meal with just the most mouth-watering food you could ever. You couldn't even conceive it because it's so good. You know what I mean? It's nothing that you could even think about because it's so out of your league good. But you have to eat with Donald Trump and Melania.
Nope.
You don't have to say anything, but you have to sit in the same booth and in like one of those big brown booths, so fancy. I do it. Melania's hot. I mean, I at least enjoy the food and stare at a hot chick. And maybe I could use the food as influence too. I'd be like, yo, I don't look Mexican, do I? But I am Mexican. Now don't be scared of Mexicans, Donnie. Influence.
I think
And
at that point, and this is
chocolate
and this is the honest truth. I think at the point where you would actually be talking to an individual like that, the narcissism would be so high that he would have already known not to say anything offensive and to be very nice to you and say many
What if
great
he's still
things
president,
about
so he
my
can say
tunes.
whatever he wants? Like he's still president.
Well, I mean, he does that wherever he is. He's been doing this forever.
Well, I'm
It's
aware.
kind of
I haven't liked the guy since the 80s. That's
Yeah,
why
neither
I
have I.
couldn't believe
Neither have
like
I.
being a poor kid in the 80s and
I
watching.
mean, technically, our story about Asians and the racism that they experience, even if it is just a weird random occurrence for people out here in western Montana, ties directly to the blatant misogynist behavior of our idiot in chief. The Cheeto skin shitweasel. He's totally made all that shit cool.
No, okay. I'll agree with the point that like because
He has
since he's been in office, that he had like racists are now feel more comfortable speaking out. That doesn't mean that it created it.
No. I'm not
there.
saying he's creating anything, but he is facilitating the shit out of it.
He's not facilitating. He's being an ally to it. So like the shit's always
isn't that the same thing?
The shit, not really. Facilitating it is giving them a specific platform and allowing them to
Silence and not condemning something is
That's-
the same as facilitating
No,
it.
it's not. No,
All
it's
that is required for
It's
evil
not,
to
man. It's
succeed
not
is
the same.
that good men do nothing.
So I let you finish your sentiment. Let me finish mine. Facilitation is actively garnering participation and giving a platform to display. That's facilitation. He is an ally, but he's not a facilitator.
You don't think he's doing those?
Does he
those
let
two
people
things?
step up to the podium and say, "Go ahead"? Is he
He
saying?
doesn't let anybody talk.
Well, what I'm saying is that's facilitation. That is facilitation. It's him actively putting people on a platform to be able to display their beliefs. He's making it okay. He's loosening the ties to it in terms of like, I mean, that shit. I'm kind of glad it's coming out. I'm kind of glad these racists can poke their heads out and speak because now I can identify them as opposed to them being in the dark. And
Yeah, it is nice. It is nice. It
they
is.
haven't learned
You know
it.
what's scary to me though is the number of people that are.
It's not to me, man, because I'm from Clinton, dude. I've been seeing this shit since I was a child. This shit is nothing new to me. It's just now
I'm from
people are
Montana
vocal.
too. I'm from Montana too.
There's a difference
but
between
but
being Missoula, being a
but the-
Missoula kid,
the-
and being a Clinton
The
kid. There's
vocal is a huge
difference.
thing. I understand.
There's a huge difference.
I understand.
Like, real talk, if we went out to Clinton, you'd see the difference already. If we went to Port Henry's right now, you'd be like, oh, I fucking get you. And it's a way different Clinton now.
Yeah.
Now there's money out there and people are chill. But
Right,
racism has
but
been around everywhere. The only thing Trump is doing is because, like with that Charleston shit, he was
Normalize
like, there was good. Yeah, exactly. He's making it okay to be one. He's not facilitating it, but he's taking the, what's the word I'm looking for, the judgment away from it, I guess.
Okay.
Like, these people aren't afraid to talk, but he's not being like, go ahead and come be racist. Let me put you on top. That's facilitation. You know. That's
All right. But yeah, I guess the thing that I find would be a little bit the gray area for me is that he uses the phrases that are predominantly found in white supremacist culture kind of as his calling cards. So when these groups use those same phrases, it's kind of like, like speaking in a secret code.
I think that goes the other direction. I think that those people have adopted phrases that he's used. I'm not trying to defend the man, and I'm definitely
No. Yeah.
and I'm not
I guess
saying- and I'm not saying
that is a huge part of it. Is they
Right.
have to take on the mantle.
Well, it's not even a
Even
have
if-
to.
and
It's they've
he's
chosen
not,
to.
and he gets to say, "Oh, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know that would happen."
I would honestly believe that he doesn't. I think that guy's been so rich for so long that he's so fucking out of touch that he
He's
doesn't.
super out of touch.
He doesn't know.
He's
what's
super
going
out of touch. And-
Like
and-
he has his own thoughts and like he is a fucking racist and a misogynist and shit, but he definitely is not.
He could be a lot of other
Like
things,
I don't
too.
think like that's why it's so bizarre to me that rural fucking hicks support Trump because that dude is so far from what their life actually is.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
fucking-
I think he promises them that they could have something like that.
I've never heard him say that.
Well, he's
He
like,
talks
I'm going
about
to make
bringing
America
jobs
great
back
again,
and
right?
all that
Bringing
shit.
jobs back, and he's saying that in Christmas that he made so many jobs that the world is great again. But all those jobs are in seasonal work. And the weird thing about that is the more jobs that come in out of nowhere before there's actually an economy to support it is actually drained.
And let's be real, all presidents create jobs. The fact of the matter is he's not creating jobs in the scale that he said in the industries in which he said he would.
And not for the people
Let's not
that
talk
he said
about him. I don't want to talk about him.
Who? Who are you talking about?
Yeah. What's your favorite breed of dog?
Favorite breed of dog has got to be Labs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a very Missoula answer. Very Missoula answer. They're
Kind of a Montana answer, though, because
they're
they're
fun.
really good dogs.
They are great
You
dogs.
can take
I love
them
Labs.
duck hunting.
They swim real well and they're lovey-dovey, happy.
They love going
Big
on
dumb
water
buddies.
trips, and I love floating.
Yeah.
but
Dude,
golden
Steve had
retrievers.
this-
Golden retrievers are also really nice. And shout out to Falcor,
Falcon.
whatever the fuck he was.
He
That
was
is my
he was a
that's my
Scottish. He was a
favorite.
Scottish bear dog.
That's my favorite breed.
He's
of
my favorite
dog.
dog that's ever existed.
Yeah,
I
but
miss
because
that.
he makes
Cheers to Falcor. R.I.P.
greatest
My-
dog to ever
My
live.
favorite breed of dogs, we like pit bulls. They are some of the most loyal, fun, happy, personality-ridden animals ever.
They do have a lot of personality. That's hard to deal with for a lot of people, I think.
They have. Well, I mean, they have a lot of energy, so you got to give a lot of energy.
You need to
They can't
incorporate them
not
into your life.
Yeah, they're not a stay-at-home dog.
They're
I
kind
really
of like
like.
they're kind of like a super pumped up, energetic cat.
I think they're like
Because they
a
need
dog
super attention. Well, I mean, they're super dog. Like, their ideas are dogs, and the
cats
things
don't
they
really
want to do
need
dogs.
attention. My cat.
Oh,
like, he
yeah,
loves
they
it.
do.
Not
They
really.
do. Cats
Not really.
super need attention. I'm not just saying this as an opinion. This is like a thing I've read in psychological articles where something about, and this is pets in general.
I think
Your
dogs need more
pets
attention than
want-
cats.
Your pets want human
Of
contact.
course they do.
So cats probably are getting more of it. No.
Because
It's
a cat, you can leave town and have a buddy pop in and feed your cat.
Oh,
It's good.
independent.
A dog needs to be
independent.
walked and
And some people
loved.
can't. Some people can't feed the dog too.
I would
like
say
if the
though,
dog
I would
doesn't
say
know you-
that my favorite my favorite
Brand.
breed.
No, it is a brand.
I'm gonna say corgi. I'm
We're
gonna say
gonna
corgi's
talk
probably
from
my favorite puppers. They're just the happiest, funniest little
I'm
switch fluffers.
super shocked by that actually.
Because I'm a big old dude, you'd expect big old tough animal.
No,
Corgis are just fun little
because
dogs.
they seem like something little old Midwestern ladies have a bunch of. Like they walk out into their garden in Iowa and they're about to start working on their tulips, and the 15 corgis come running up behind, with their butt cheeks waggling back and forth, and they're having a happy time, and they don't eat anything because they're corgis. They don't destroy things. They're just like little.
They really don't, man. I haven't heard any stories of people that own corgis about them like chewing up shoes and shit. They're just kind of the chill little butts.
Corgi puppies have super sharp teeth.
All puppies got them needles.
Right? Cats, I think, are the weirdest one because when they're little, their claws, before they like climb trees and stuff, like one of the only reasons I can even play with Freya is that she climbs trees. And do things because I don't like to clip their nails.
Oh, fuck no. My cat doesn't even
Some people,
expose his
like
claws when we're wrestling.
he's a super fuzzy buddy though. Like,
Yeah, he's a fun
he
one.
will bat you in the face with no claw.
Yeah, it'll just be like, hi.
If Freya put her paw in your face,
You're getting a scratch.
you're getting a scratch. Like,
He
look at
bites
this.
a lot,
Look at
though.
this. Just the last couple of days. Yeah, but he doesn't break the skin.
Well, he does,
puts
but
his
that's
teeth
usually
on
because
you.
I'm going a little harder. You know what I mean?
If you swing your hand up into his teeth and you cut, that's different than because like Freya does that now too, where she'll put her mouth on my hand, but not bite me. But her claw comprehension is not good.
Claw comprehension. It's a claw comprehension. Claw comprehension. It's a claw comprehension.
Please support us, White Claw.
Sponsor.
Send us a lifetime of coleslaw.
I love coleslaw. People fucking hate it. I love it.
You know why I don't like coleslaw? Mayo.
You don't like mayo?
I hate mayo.
I love mayo.
I like aioli.
Real mayo.
I
is
like aioli.
See, I usually buy aioli when I'm going for the mayo. I just don't go for straight mayonnaise.
Well,
You know what's great though?
Aioli is what mayo is.
No, I know it's flavored mayo. I'm not an
But
idiot.
mayonnaise is a particular version of aioli.
No, you got the backwards. Aioli is flavored mayo. Goo that shit.
Yeah.
Goo
I
that shit.
have no problem wrecking you on this one.
So if I win, do I get to smack you in the back since you're so cocky about winning?
No,
Alright.
that's fucked up because then every
It would be
time.
hard.
Yeah, but that's not the point.
No, but you got cocky with it. You said, I can't wait to wreck you on this. That's why that's the only reason. It's not like just because you're wrong. It's because you're being that cocky.
I did.
Yeah. I can't wait to wreck you on this. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's
Get
right.
it.
Get it.
Recipes. It's what I know. Recipes.
One of my favorite dipping
So
sauces
this
with artichoke
continues to grow.
with artichokes is a mayonnaise sauce.
So
with
before
garlic, a little
we look this
Tabasco
up,
in there,
before we look this
put
up,
it on some heat.
hold on. Before we look this up,
Dippy dip dip
Your
dip, dippy dip,
definition-
dip, 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 dip.
your definition of aioli is flavored mayo.
Yeah.
I'm saying homemade, not production, not a company-made thing,
Come on.
because it doesn't have to have flavoring
You
in it.
can't
It just has to
throw-
be aioli is just egg and oil mixed together.
You're talking homemade, first of all. Secondly, how often do people homemade their condiments? Big thought, man. Hold on, don't.
It's just like mayo. If it were mayo, they'd call it mayo.
Well,
That's not entertaining. Look at the back of your head.
Hey guys, hey
Pretty
all
good.
of you, hey everybody that's watching.
Yes. Possible because of. Wait, is there anybody on there? I don't think there's anybody on there. Do you see anyone?
I don't know
You
where
know what'd be really cool
where
is
would
if
it
we
be
could have.
displayed?
Let's get a thing that shows like a little bit of an audience, like at the bottom, depending on how many people are watching.
Let's wait till people are watching to do that.
Well, I mean, we can't. How are we gonna do it now? There's nobody watching. But wouldn't it be cool if there was like a bunch of little like silhouettes down at the bottom, like, moving their heads around? Scaramouche, do you do the fandango? Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening. Galileo, Galileo, Galileo.
Yeah, I always thought it was very, very frightening me. Now that
Very,
you,
very frightening.
yeah, now that you actually say it, that makes way more fucking sense. I do that with lyrics all the time. I'm like,
I'm horrible with lyrics. Horrible.
there was this one time I used to think that Eminem was saying imitating, which isn't a word, but he's like, I'm the real Shady, Slim Shady is just imitating. And I always thought he was saying imitating. I had no idea why. It's not even a word. Bottle cap on stick, bottle cap on stick. It's a bottle cap on stick. It's a bottle. You want to go watch comedy today? There's a comedy show at the Badlander at 8 o'clock. Should be done by like 9:30. Come be social. Go see people. What happened? What the fuck? Did I just make a magic trick and not even know about it? Huh? You see where that bottle cap went? Nope. I didn't hear a sound on the floor. It's not in my lap. Dude, I think I just magic. Pretty sure I just magic. Magic, huh?
Magic, probably.
Dude, don't tell me I'm not magic. I'm fucking magic as fuck right now.
Well, I mean, like, kind of magic.
I'm magic as fuck right now, dude. Fuck.
MAF? Would it be MAF, or do you have to as the fuck? Is it as
I hate when people say AF. I think that shit is
I think all the lulz and all those things are extremely stupid. Until I have to use something like that in a digital context.
I always say ha
And then
ha.
I wish I could just go 3 characters. Even ha ha is 5 characters.
4.
Ha ha space.
No, you
Ha,
don't.
space
You
ha.
don't space the ha's.
You can space the ha's. Ha ha.
Who laughs like that?
Well, I mean, I just did.
To prove a point. I do got a buddy when he's laughing.
I do that. I do that.
I do got a buddy when he finds a joke pretty funny. He'll just go lol. I think it's fucking hilarious. To be honest.
And that one used to piss me off until I heard somebody say raffle.
Raffle.
Rolling on the floor laughing.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, raffle. Because it's like then all of a sudden you've created this whole new language, and it kind of gets at where league exists in changing, keeping speech regular, but changing the characters so that someone that doesn't understand the codex can't read it. So then, once they start learning the codex, then you change the word structure. So instead of saying, "Oh, I just beat that guy," okay, we're not going to call that anymore because when you're against a player and you own them, you have just done a player own that's a pwn. So if you pwn someone, you don't want to say, "Haha, I just player owned you." You say pwned. PWN''D. Pwned.
Nah.
I know you don't, but this is a thing. You wouldn't.
Take
but
out
you
of context.
But
Take
you
out of
like your
gaming
set.
context. Player owned sounds like pimpin' service.
It is. That's what it's referencing. It's someone just. It's like in soccer when you say you just fucking. Then he's. Dude,
Well, I'm a
needs to go back and
heterosexual,
get-
so I play
he-
football.
The guy. Yeah, and I'm a communist. Yeah, I've heard that one before.
I saw
Way
one of
back
my
in high
friends
school.
posted on Facebook today, and I really respect her. She's she's a generation older than me. I've known her from my church days, so I've known her years. But she posted today, and her quote was, "I didn't need a study to tell me this, but the research was, weak men believe in socialism, strong men believe in capitalism." And I just my response was like, I must be the exception then.
Wow. Like, so you're gonna say that? I mean, let's just take this into context culturally. So we're literally calling Russians and the people in China them weak, and Americans strong.
I think it was. I didn't actually
It's
read the
supposed to be, you know,
I didn't
like
read
an
the article, but
ideological
it
thing,
definitely
right?
didn't. It
Probably didn't touch on that.
Well, it didn't resonate like it was in global research. Like I think
Right?
it was
They're
in
talking
American.
about, yeah.
But also in that sense, I think it takes a stronger person to care to want to do for others as opposed to themselves. Than I think it's weaker to want to take care of yourself instead of wanting to take care of others. Like take care of yourself.
Isn't it interesting? Yeah, isn't
You know,
it
but
interesting
like,
that the thought of
capitalism
the
is-
lower section of capitalism versus the lower section of socialism are completely different. One is taught to just pick themselves up by their bootstraps and take care of their bootstraps and take care of themselves by any means. The other one is said that everything you do is for the betterment of humanity. At the top, though, it's kind of the same. Well, humanity at this point exists as like if we go nuclear winter, this colony has to survive for humanity to survive. All the colonies have to think like that,
jumping so far.
and they have to help each other.
I think that's
agree.
convoluting.
It's going. Well, I was getting somewhere. That the top though is kind of the same. They're just out for themselves, and the way that they have to do that is by getting the majority to at least follow a channel.
I don't know. I mean, I have never lived outside of the U.S., so I couldn't really say. But I mean, socialist in certain communist countries doesn't work for them, obviously. But there's a lot of socialist countries out there, like Denmark. I don't think the people that are in charge of Denmark are out for themselves specifically. I think they're more in care for the country.
Right. So when you talk about something like that, then you get to see the bright side, what the really
Wouldn't that be the
positive.
top? Just because they're not American top doesn't mean they're not the top. If they're the top of their country, they're still the top, correct?
I was going with just the two, Russian and American.
Right. Well, there's
Just
a whole
those
world
two.
out
I know. And there's a lot of different versions of socialism, and there's a lot of
that's what
different
I'm
versions of democracy.
Yeah.
But our two biggest players, the two biggest powers in those two fields, exist in the same kind of autocratic rule.
You know what I like? And it's weird. I like paying my bills. Like when I go and I put money on my internet, which I only got 2 bills, electric and internet. But when I do that, there's like a sense of like real, true blue accomplishment. It used to feel like I was throwing money into a pit hole, which essentially I'm doing. But it just feels good to be able to pay off debt and like get
Yeah,
keep having
exactly
shit,
what you mean.
I need to get my
what you
license
mean.
back.
It feels comfortable. You don't feel
Yeah.
like somebody's going to come knock on your door and be like, hey, I need that payment right now. And you're like, well, I don't have it. And they're like, well, okay, so you got 2 weeks. Which isn't the worst thing in the world. There are people that deal with much harsher. But at the same time, the amount of cortisol that you end up flooding your brain with, dealing with the opposite, where you just kind of like...
Cortisol is the biochemical that is related to stress, right?
Yeah. It's your stress hormone.
Magic trick!
Boom! Where did it go? It went in your
my
hand?
fucking
It went in
sleeve.
your sleeve. No way.
It did. It
It was on the top of the stick.
I know.
You
Magic
did
trick.
it.
I
You
told
did
you
that on
that.
purpose.
I literally did nothing on purpose. That just happened.
Bullshit. You didn't know it was in there?
Am I a liar?
Well, I can't call you that because that would make me a fucking dipshit.
Well, am I a liar?
No.
Well, there you go.
Because I would be lying if I called you a liar.
There's no reason for me to have lied about this. That's literally what happened. It fell into my sleeve, and then I felt something, and I went like this, and it ended up in my hand. Magic. Fucking magic. I told you. You're out here doubting.
We all know.
You out here doubting.
We all know you're a leprechaun.
This is my wand.
We all know you're just a really big leprechaun. And then if you were human-sized, you'd be like 15
Dude,
feet.
if I lived in a leprechaun colony, they'd all hate me.
No, you are just
big.
you're the biggest leprechaun. You were born to a leprechaun mom.
No,
You grew up with a leprechaun lawn.
My mom was far from a leprechaun. If anything, in that scenario, leprechaun wife, she's the pot. Not the gold, but she's the pot.
That carries the gold. So what does she have inside?
Fucking terribleness, narcissism, and a reluctancy to humiliation.
Shit, that's not gold.
Nah, it's not gold. But the pot inside is made of cold.
But
hard
but
steel.
she's not necessarily the pot with the gold in it for you to be a leprechaun. Because leprechauns are
No,
always
before
searching
the gold got
for
in there,
their-
it was like a spittoon. But then someone was like, "Oh, we
but
need a
they
pot for
put
the
somebody
gold."
good, and they put the.
They're like,
this
"Well,
gold
we got
in
this
the
pot over
spittoon.
here. There's this pot over here.
They
we
didn't
can
think
spit
about
in."
what was in it beforehand.
They're like, "Oh, nobody's gonna care about the spit because there's gold in it," and then they just put gold on top of it.
And they were like, "Yeah, we'll just wash the spit off."
But
And
they didn't
then
even know.
later, they realized they
But then
couldn't wash the
Larry
spit
the
off.
leprechaun came in and he's like, "No one's gonna notice."
And then
this
he
spit."
jerked off in the thing.
Yeah, with his AIDS jizz. Yep, that's my mom. Yeah, she's a pretty terrible human.
Well, that got dark quickly.
Life goes on.
Should we had a cheers to somebody? We should cheers them again. Falcor.
Yeah, to Falcor. Let's Falcor
Falcor,
cheers.
yep.
Let's cheers to Morgan Freeman, my past pet.
Yes.
Cheers, Morgan Freeman.
I can't. I was going to do something about fresh fish and thinking about cats and sitting on a porch.
He was a good
But
little
my
buddy.
Morgan Freeman is not all that impressive.
Well, Andy went out to the cafeteria today.
The only time I ever talked to him again about his cat was after he crawled through a mile of No, see, it's not very good.
Mine
didn't
was
listen
good, but
to
then
it.
you interrupted me, so whatever.
Whatever, I
It's
thought
like
you
whatever.
sucked. That's why I
Whatever.
stepped on it.
This is my whatever face.
Like
It
a
is.
dick. Stepped on it like
This
a
is what my
dick.
whatever face looks like.
Yeah, that is a whatever
This is how I
face.
look when I don't care about stuff. Something else.
That's so violent.
What? I didn't do nothing to you.
You're gonna.
No.
You good.
Yo, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Please don't stick that up your nose.
No, it's on the perfect perch.
Die right there.
You could kill somebody by doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wait, let's do it this way so the camera sees.
That didn't look as good as I probably thought it did. No, I'm not even gonna fake it because I'm gonna fucking hurt myself.
Oh shit, 911! The funniest video on YouTube ever is some guy sticking himself in the brain with a very long Q-tip.
I'd look good with an eye patch though.
Oh, I thought it was going up your nose. In your
No, I was gonna throw it in my eye.
Oh, skull fuck yourself with a dowel?
Till that eye jig.
I think that would be right away.
Having a call tonight with an insurance recruiter, insurance salesman recruiter. She said she can make like 2 G's a day.
You're gonna be an insurance saleswoman?
She is
When-
a saleswoman. I have a penis though, so I'm a man. But and I
Well,
identify as
but you
cis.
can identify
as
I
cis.
guess. I was gonna say, you can
Um,
identify as a woman and still have a penis.
She told me every single person you sign up, you get $400. So if I sign up 4 people, I would be making $1,200 every single month. $400?
Do you
No,
know
that might be
people?
wrong.
Do you know people to
I'm to the age.
sign up for people every month, every year
No, you
for
keep
the next like?
as they pay their bills, you keep getting money off of their account. So it's like, and plus, yeah, man,
That seems like a racket.
I can. It's insurance. Insurance
That's-
is a racket.
I'm messing with you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it is a racket, but yeah, that was a joke.
Wasn't very good one.
They don't all have to. They don't all have to be good.
I might be making some damn good
Sometimes,
money.
sometimes I don't make a joke to please somebody.
Describe the
Just for
deal
myself.
you're getting.
Say what?
Describe this insurance deal you're getting.
I don't know yet. That's what the talk is about. I'm not getting the insurance. I'm just selling it.
So how much money is she making? And
That's
how much?
that's what I have.
Because you're basically subcontracting, but she's the one who's making more money off of you.
No, it's the opposite. I would be signing up with the company. She's just letting me know the details. She's not actually signing me up for anything. She's being an intermediate between her and her company to just let me know what the scheme is. I wouldn't be signing up with anybody like that. I'd be my own independent salesperson.
Okay.
Why did you say it like that? Plus, doesn't
Her
everybody
aunt-
that works
her
a
aunt
job
is-
doesn't
her aunt
everybody
is
that works a job
insurance.
making more money for somebody else anyway?
Yeah, but like
all the time?
generally to be an insurance contractor, you have to take a lot of tests.
Yeah, there's a bunch of tests. And shit.
Okay.
I'm not jumping in. Like, this is simply the introduction to the whole process. I haven't committed to it.
Okay. Because you have to know a lot.
Yeah, of course. I would assume so. And I know nothing about it. So I found the tests and then so.
I was mostly concerned you were getting into a pyramid scheme. I
No,
was
no,
like,
no. She's legit. She's been a friend of mine for 20 plus years, so we good. And like I said, I'm just knocking on the door right now. I'm not committing to anything. I'm just trying to find something that makes more money and I don't have to take shit from bums.
yeah, totally
I
get it.
really tired of this fucking customer service shit. And I know as soon as winter hits, the meth heads are going to be hitting that casino way more than they do already. And I've already had to kick 3 people out in a month and a half. Yeah, and like that's the thing though. Is like I make $320 on Friday though, so it's like it's not a good feeling. But then I go home and I look at the money and I'm like, oh, you know. So there's like my days off are nice, but I don't like being at work for 10 hours a day, like wondering what kind of element's going to walk through that door, which is the job. You know, it is what it is.
The reason that I stopped working at the gas station that I was doing the graveyard at was this dude came in with his buddy, and they had like their jackets on. They walked over to the cooler, got a cube of Pabst, and threw their jacket. He threw his jacket over his arm, and just kind of hid it like he was just carrying his jacket. So fucking obvious. Super obvious. They walk up, they kind of like, they're like, hey, thanks. We don't need anything, bye. They didn't even buy anything, which I would think would be kind of like that. You set yourself up, you buy something, and then you steal more.
That's how I used to do it, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it for 2 seconds, it's still not, it might not work. You still might get caught. Somebody might watch you take something and put it in your pocket. And they go, empty your pockets out, and you're like, I didn't do it. Got you on video, just take it out of your pocket. Okay, fine, give it back, and then we'll charge you. You know, whatever it is. If you're a little white boy, that works. If you're not, you'll probably get shot.
Or close to it.
So these guys are walking out, and corporate policy of the place that I worked, leave that out of it.
You ever sound like there's something in that floor?
Yeah, it does.
Maybe there's a treasure or a body.
Probably just a joist.
No, because a joist would make sound. That's hollow.
Yeah, it's in between a joist.
Oh, let's go this way.
Yeah, it's the same one back over
I don't know, dude. How big are these joists then? You talking about a... So is this
there.
a 12 by 12?
There's at least 2. There's at least 2 joists in between. So if they're going this way, yeah, they could be. And this place isn't sitting on a real foundation.
It probably isn't going this way.
Yeah, they're definitely.
Actually, no, it would have to
It's
be
not-
going this
it's
way.
not
You
a
wouldn't be
real
able to. You
foundation.
wouldn't be able to lay the floor the same way as the joist. It wouldn't hold. You have to lay it horizontal.
Well, this doesn't have a real foundation, so. I don't think
I'm
any
saying
of
there's a
them-
treasure
I don't
right
think.
there. There's a treasure right here.
Well, we'll get out the shovel in a little bit and dig it up.
Get your pickaxe.
Get your pickaxe.
I mean, who doesn't want a treasure? I used to do carpeting. And
Well, but if you have a
real
treasure,
talk,
then don't you become famous?
no, not really.
Somebody's gonna find out about that shit.
Well, yeah, but the famous and notoriety are two different things. Like, you're not going to be famous, but people are going to know that you have found something. But I used to do carpeting, and we would tear up carpets, and I would find like fucking rings and shit, dude. I found a fucking diamond ring one time, like
What?
underneath the carpet. Yeah, I got $500 for that motherfucker. I just took it to a pawn shop.
What?
Yep, real top.
Should have got it appraised and then sold it somewhere else.
Oh, I was so young and shit. I didn't know about things like that. I was just like, money.
And it's gone.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, of course. I drank that shit away and put that shit up my nose like nobody's business.
Yeah, so speaking of Asian people being
Speaking of Asian people, from precursor from 45 minutes
Yeah.
ago.
It might have been longer than that now.
How long have we been going?
I don't know.
Does it have a timer?
Yeah.
Sure.
Does this mean that
Make sure that
these
this
two
doesn't-
people are watching? Oh no.
No, that's some other shit. That's also. Yeah, let's get.
What's the rest of the toy that this belongs to?
Oh, it's just a big, long, fucking, like braided rope. Go get it.
Okay. No,
And you just put it on the
I
end
can
of the thing.
visualize it.
You put it on the end of the thing, and you can use it like
Like
a, yeah, it's for kitty fishing.
yeah, I got you.
It's one of my favorite games.
I
Now I
know
just
that
hold on to the string because she always yanks it out of my hand. She was pulling this thing out and then clank, 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 clank. So I was like, all right, take that off of there and fish it up. But I took it out in the yard
You got a pretty kitty.
and I could just like whip it around and she would.
I'm gonna do my best to make my kitty an indoor-outdoor kitty this spring. I have a friend that's willing to teach me, and I just gotta like not be so selfish.
Well, it's good. There's gonna
Anything
be some,
that happens
there's
to my
gonna be
kitty.
well, there's gonna be some times like he's gonna know that there are times when you come home if he's outside. He's
And
gonna
that's
know
the
when.
problem. Working the hours I do now, and as much as I do now.
So I would say if you're going to work, don't leave him out overnight if you're not gonna be there. So you can't let him in.
But that's the thing is I work at 1 a.m. So if I get home and then let him out, he's out overnight. And then
1 a.m. till like.
I mean I could
the
potentially be
morning.
home at like 3 a.m.
But so when you come home at like 3 a.m. and you let him out, then he's going to be outside when the sun is coming up. That's a lot different than being out when the sun is going down and then waiting until the sun comes up again.
Dude, did I tell you I got a car? About that Subi that you saw?
Yeah.
And then actually I'm paying Tyler to go register it. We're just kicking him a flat rate and he's going to register it in his name. Meaning, like, so if a cop gets behind me and does the shit, it's going to come up that I have a license. Because of his name. And so I got a year to get my license back. I know you guys got your issues, but him and I are cool.
No, just leave it.
Fuck cares.
Okay.
Driving hot, motherfuckers, come find me.
All the viewers come.
I know we have an
Get it.
exclusively law enforcement audience.
Yeah, and nothing but. You don't know how
Oh,
many
yeah, she's-
tweets I get.
Is she still the press secretary?
Yeah.
Is she? I
Yeah,
thought she
so she
resigned.
claimed. Well, she said she's resigned, but she still have to find another job. But that's because she knows she's not good. There's nothing going on. But the claim here, and this is from the Huffington Post. She said not a day ago that 4,000 terrorists entered the United States on the southern
How
border
the fuck do they
with
know?
with the refugees from South America.
So we did a census of
Central
all the
America.
migrants, and 4,000 of them checked terrorist on the box.
So
What the fuck does that even
well,
mean?
so there's a list.
Only
There's
6
a list
migrants,
that
not
the
senators.
that the
4,000
yeah. So six were on. There's a list. There's a
That's
list
the
that the
Huffington
NSA.
Post, huh?
Yeah, there's a list that the NSA has of potential terrorists, and they're kind of it's called the watch list, where like if that person were to come to the United States because of what they've posted in other countries, there's enough evidence for whatever stupid bureaucratic set of fucking old stuck up dry buttholes make these decisions that this person they don't like Christianity enough and they don't want us to make money off of their people, whatever it is. There's people on these watch lists. This is a claim that both Rudy Giuliani and Sarah Sanders said that the reason we need border control is because there are terrorists coming in on foot. When we know that 80% of the individuals that are on watch lists that make it into the United States, for whatever reason, whether or not they're doing anything wrong or whether or not they're just a person of interest that happens to be connected to somebody else that may really know something and they may not know anything. This is the whole thing about it. They don't have enough proof. They're just people they're scared of. And fear is the motivator here. It is the thing that runs the whole machine. Of all those people, they claim that those people are coming across the border. 80% of them come, and this is, I don't mean them as in refugees. I mean the people that are on terrorist watch lists and are involved in either drug smuggling, terrorist activities, or human trafficking. 80% of them move their business or whatever their job is on planes. So why the fuck are we building a wall? Last time I checked, plane fly over wall with
We're not-
little to no
We're not
hindrance.
building a wall.
And that's the other thing. We're not going to do it. The stuff that is being implemented as structural impediment to I guess it would be migration. That's really what it is. And this is the thing that pisses me off. These are people running away from terrible, terrible situations. They're all like, well, why did they come here if they just wanted to die at the border? Because they were going to die anyway.
Not only that, but like
Their country was so
wouldn't it be
war-torn
hilarious if
and ruined.
white people started doing the jobs that immigrants do? Like how whiny would the cost of
Well, they
oranges?
are whiny. That's
The
why
cost
they
of
don't do it.
oranges would go up like tenfold.
You know what?
It'd
If
be like
you want
$7
to
an
pay
orange.
me, if you want to pay me to pick an orange, you're gonna have to pay me $25 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, well that means oranges cost $30 a piece.
Yep.
Because you are so fucking slow that you can't even pick 30 pounds in a day. Why? Because you don't care about working hard to earn something. Because you've never been anywhere with enough strife. That's a lot of
That's
it.
very far-reaching. There's a lot of white people. There's more poor white people going through hardship than any other fucking ethnicity. First off.
I think that's a
No. You're talking per capita. Look at the actual numbers.
okay in the United
There
States.
is more.
How
But that's
about
what
in
we're
the
talking
world?
about. What? Isn't that what we're talking
Well,
about?
aren't all the people that are coming here illegals? Then do they not count as being people of the United States?
You didn't hear anything I just said. I said white people, white Americans are the poorest fucking ethnicity, period. Not per capita, but absolutely. There's more poor white people in this country than anybody else. Period. To say somebody's white doesn't mean they're privileged. Look at me. You know, there's a lot of fucking...
I don't think you're white. I mean, you look white.
I mean, you're just arguing a point to argue the point. Like, fucking real talk, dude. There's more broke white people out there than any other ethnicity. Period. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to be white. It's okay to be white. There's nothing wrong with being white. And so that
I think
said,
the idea that there's inherently
Google it, man. There's more fucking poor white people than any other ethnicity. Period. Simply
Well,
because there's more white people than any other ethnicity, but there's more poor white people than any other ethnicity.
See, I don't think that that's necessarily true anymore. I would have agreed 10 years ago that the U.S. population is predominantly white, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that white people are starting to become not necessarily a majority, but they are a minority, but they're not the solid majority anymore.
I think no, we are. I mean, if they're a majority, we're a majority. But I mean, what's solid or loose about it?
Well, because there's a big difference between being in a minority and not being a majority. It could be like
So if you're 51% and not 49%, you're still the majority. Period. That's still a majority.
What if you're 38% and there's another 28% or another 34%,
Still
and
majority.
then the remainder that is 15 different groups?
Okay, well, let's just look it up. I mean, all you're doing right now is like white hating for no reason.
I'm not white hating. Oops. Race hating. You don't get that anymore.
Fine.
I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna take your stick away. You're having
Well,
a good time with that
just
thing.
Yeah, it's gonna become my little crutch.
Here, do you want a real stick?
No, this one works.
Swing? Like, cause that one. No,
This one works.
Swing
No,
the
this
other
is-
one. Just swing the other one.
How about you just let me do what I do in my life, bro?
Well, because.
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
About this thing, I know about swinging sticks. Here, feel that.
I just
Tell me
got
that
text
doesn't
message.
feel better. And then hold it with a little bit of butter.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I just want to play with a stick.
Well, play with that stick. 'Cause it's more of a stick.
I don't know. I think I like this longer stick better.
Do you know why you're playing with sticks though? Is to whack people with it.
No, I'm not. I have it posted on this little dot, and I keep doing this with my hand. That's what I'm doing right now.
That's practicing stabbing someone in the eye.
I don't stab us.
You might though. Why wouldn't you stab somebody in the eye? Especially if you got it coming. No.
The racist wants to make amends. He just hit me up again.
Okay.
I'm gonna give him a second chance. I'm gonna give him a second chance.
So, and let's just make sure for the nobody that's watching that we're giving somebody that not even like accidentally or like side slanted something, was straight up in conversation when talking about the benefit or the moral existence of human beings, said in response to whatever else we were talking about, yeah, unless they're Asian. That was the straight quote.
That's what she said, though, right?
Yeah, she goes, yeah, unless they're Asian. And then we all just kind of sat there. her boyfriend was like gauging a response from you and me. I just kind of put my hand on my beard for a second and watched you. You looked at her and went, wait, what? And then we proceeded to discuss about whether or not being drunk or on coke gives you the insane ability to just say random things that are hurtful to other people, or if that's actually part of your soul and what you're really projecting into the universe. To which her response was, yeah, I guess I'm a racist.
I can't believe she just said it.
How do you, like, we don't need to even need to talk about it anymore. You're not gonna find any treasure underneath my floor.
There's a treasure in there. There's a treasure
I'm
or a
not
body.
digging up the floor. We're not doing
There's
that.
either
This
a
is not
treasure
an
or a
episode of
body.
Adventure Time. We're not gonna go get a shovel and break up
I'm
the
just
floor.
saying, you're the only one that has something to lose here. Treasure in your floor.
You're right.
Yeah.
It is all mine to lose,
Yeah.
but it's all mine to gain.
Exactly.
No,
I get a
we're
10%
not.
finder's fee.
No, you get nothing.
I get 10% floor treasure
You
finder's
get
fee.
credit.
I'm either getting part
Jimmy,
of that treasure. Or
Jimmy
I will
was the
rob you.
first person who thought to look for the treasure. How come you haven't given Jimmy any money?
You heard it,
Well,
folks.
because
You
he
heard it,
whacked
folks.
me- he
I'm the
whacked
first
me with a
one to
fucking
have discovered
stick.
his treasure.
To discover it.
It's now recorded. It
mine.
is now law.
It's my treasure, and you don't get any because you whacked me with a stick in like 15 minutes when I wouldn't give you anything.
Well, I'll just rob you once you find it. I'm really good at robbing.
You're gonna.
Like, you're a ninja, but you can't
You
fight
just
your
said you're gonna knock me out. That's not fair.
I didn't. Where did you hear the words?
How am I gonna let you just walk out of the house with the treasure after you find it?
No,
This
that's
is gonna
robbing.
be some
That's the
Jimmy
whole
shit.
That's the whole robbing
So
situation.
you're gonna have
That's
to
how you
smack
rob.
me over the head of something.
No, robbing is when you do something. You take something from somebody
But I'm
forcefully.
right here.
Yeah.
Forcefully.
How the fuck am I supposed
so
to
you're gonna
rob you?
smack me.
How am I supposed to rob you if you're not here? I can't rob you if you're not right in front of me. Duh.
Yeah, you
That's
can.
robbing 101.
Yeah, you can. That's
That's
actually.
identity
I
theft.
think that's
That's
actually the
identity
best way
theft.
to rob someone is when they're not there.
No.
If you're gonna
that's
take someone
burglary,
from somebody.
not robbery. You're getting your shit mixed up.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well.
Just in life, always realize I'm probably always gonna
What is this, the Writacast?
do that. Except for aioli.
Jimmy's
I
always
was wrong.
writing
I was
cast.
wrong on aioli. I admit that. I was wrong
Yes!
on aioli.
You didn't even have to read it out loud.
No, I didn't read it out loud.
Yeah.
Our
That's
viewer,
how-
our
that's
viewers
how-
were totally bored.
That's yes. I'm sorry, all of you, that you had to not witness or witness.
So
whatever it was.
let's dive into the mindset of somebody who doesn't like Asians. If you were to be like, I don't like a race, and it was okay to say it, which race would you say?
White people.
Me too. Me fucking too.
And this is coming from
You know the
someone who
worst
has-
people in
who
the
has
world.
as a very clear white person. My family heritage actually comes from like a subjective version of white people. The Sami people in Norway have brown hair, hazel eyes, not brown eyes, not blue eyes, but they're like greenish brown eyes, hazel eyes, and they were like the native peoples of Norway. And the Sami
Everybody
people,
started off a native somewhere.
except for Caesar.
No, Romans had natives at some point, I'm sure.
No, they were all just kings.
There's no.
They were all kings. Look at their record.
Let me finish
Go-
my goddamn sentence. You keep interrupting me. It's really starting to bother me. First of all, nobody starts off kings unless you're already part of royalty. Let me finish my goddamn sentence. All right? No society starts off kings. You know, you weren't. No civilization just starts off as a city. There's always building period. So when I say everybody started off natives, it might be millennia ago, but everybody started off. Everybody lives off the land, and then they slowly grow to what they do.
Correct. Be a dick.
You've been interrupting me a lot. I've been letting it slide. I don't like it. I want to be interrupting.
We've interrupted each other.
Nope, I let you talk. You nose boop you!
Not with that thing.
I did it very... look, I did it to myself. Just gently.
But you're not gonna nose poop my nose like that. It's gonna hurt. Oh my god, no! Okay, that was too bad. That was alright.
Dude, I've gotten out of a fight from nose booping. Well, I didn't get out of a fight. A fight didn't happen. I would whoop that dude's ass. But he was like right up here screaming, and I was screaming, and I realized like, oh, I don't want to participate in this, and I just went, not lying at all, and he just was like, just fucking nose moved me. I was like, yeah, man, this is stupid.
Do you want to get your ass?
It worked.
Yeah.
No, nobody that's about to enter a fight thinks they're gonna lose. I don't think. I mean, I never have.
I think that's the problem with
With a
bravado.
fist fight at
That's
least.
the problem with bravado.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all legal. Fuck yeah. I mean, I've gotten my ass whooped, but I didn't go into that fight being like, I'm gonna get my ass whooped.
No,
I went
you
in there
were
being like, I'm gonna fuck you up, and I got my ass whooped.
Yep.
I mean, there was more than one, but
That
still happened.
what's the line from Pulp Fiction? That sting, basing that. That's pride fucking with you.
I don't remember that quote, but that's true. I do know that.
Vin
that,
Rames
that
talking
specific
to-
tension.
Yeah, Vin Rames talking to.
The dude he's about to rape.
No, it's
He's about to
before
get
that.
real
No, that's
medieval
before
on
that.
ass.
No, that's when he saves him, and that's when he gets out of it. But before that, when he's talking to him the first time, he's giving him the payoff when they're at the bar. Why am I forgetting the actor's name? I'm having the worst brain fart in the history of the world. Fucking Die Hard.
Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis? You mean Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis is
My
my
dad's name is Bruce. How can I fucking forget that name? That's stupid.
Do you
Anyway.
ever say to him, "Don't bring me down"?
All the time. I used to sing to him. Don't bring me down, Bruce.
That's Aerosmith, right?
No.
Isn't it? Who sings that song?
No. Don't bring me down. That's the Bee Gees.
No, it's definitely not Bee Gees.
Oh, it's
ELO?
ELO.
Huh.
Because I was a lot closer than fucking
Bee Gees, and no, that's like middle ground.
Bee Gees and ELO.
Aerosmith's kind of garbage anyway, so it's like this
They're-
garbage or that garbage.
They're garbage, but
I don't
they're
like rock music,
but
though.
they're prolific garbage. They've got a lot of garbage.
they're like a
There's a big pile of it.
they're like
So if you like it,
they're like
it's
that
great.
red garbage that you only throw needles and like sanitary napkins and fucking band-aids in.
For you, yeah.
Biohazard.
Yeah,
They're
you're
biohazard trash
for
can.
you, they're like the big heap of stuff that's like, no, I don't even want to touch that.
No, I think
and some people,
I think rock
and
music's
some people,
gross.
well, but some people fucking dive into it.
Of
They're
course.
like needles and use diapers.
And people are allowed to do whatever they want. It just ain't my jam. Like when anybody's ever like, oh, what do you think of Tool? I'm like, their music. They play music. Like I have no opinion. The only real
But you
bands,
don't listen to rock.
the only rock bands I truly listen to on like any kind of regular basis is Ween. First of all, I listen to Ween more than I listen to anything. And
But is Ween
Led
rock?
Zeppelin.
But it's mean rock.
I would classify it as experimental rock, yeah. Because they
Not
definitely got some.
Not some other kind of genre. Where
They're
we're
hard to
talking-
define. Like they're so
I agree.
diverse that
I
it's
agree,
hard.
and that's why I would say it's
But at
hard
the
to
same
put
time,
them
like,
as rock because they write
you're-
country tunes, they write bluegrass
But if you're
tunes,
going
they write,
going to
put them
put
in
them in
anything,
like rock's the only thing. I think.
indie rock maybe,
I would say experimental rock. They're not indie.
indie experience. Well, I mean they started out indie
No,
for sure.
Well, I mean every single artist in the world starts off indie. But the pod was signed by Universal, and that was their first album. So you tell me that's indie. That's a major.
Yeah, they're definitely not indie. You're right. But they kind of personify what most of the indie label wants
see,
to
the thing
be.
about
They
in-
just happen to be really good at what they're doing, and they've been able to do everything under the umbrella of music. I don't think I've heard a style of music or a genre of a dance, a particular form that's been codified. I don't think they haven't done one. They've done them all, and they've done them really well. Their bluegrass album,
Boys Club. That wasn't bluegrass. It was outlaw country. But yeah.
well, but I mean that's they took musicians that identify themselves as bluegrass
No,
musicians. Well,
you can't tell me shit about Ween, bro. I can go off all day. Those facts I have locked down.
but even
Do you wanna hear a fun
in
Ween fact?
in the interview where they're talking about that when they created that album, they're like, okay, we found these guys
Let's see
that
the
were
interview.
really. I don't think we can.
Of course we know. Do you know the song Transdermal Celebration? Transdermal Celebration. So Diener's his solo on that album, they had a buddy that was a roadie for Santana, and they were playing New York that day, and Santana was playing MGD or Madison Square Garden the next day, and they broke into Santana's gearbox, and he recorded the solo for that track on Santana's guitar on the stage. sitting cross-legged and barefoot on the stage at Madison Square Garden.
Damn.
Pretty cool. That's my second favorite Wings song. My favorite Wings song is "Don't get too close to my fantasy. Don't be afraid to clutch the hand of your creator. Stare into the lion's eyes.
Is it the Aquarium Drunkard? Is
Get
that
to
the one?
your surprise. What up?
Is it the Aquarium Drunkard? Is that the name of the album?
No, it's called Golden Country Hits.
That's what I thought. But here they're calling it.
Or 12 Golden Country Classics or something like that. I gotta take a piss.
Sorry, viewers.
Maybe
I love sarcastically acting like people are watching this shit.
that's one of my favorite things about doing this is that it is live. There could be people watching it, but there isn't. So we don't have to worry about doing it.
No,
Actually, you know what we can do?
Really worry about
Let's
it.
just take a fucking hiatus anyway.
Don't get too close.
We'll be right back.